Picture this. You're eating dinner right now. You take a bite, you chew it 10 times, 20 times. You barely think about it. It feels automatic, boring even. But somewhere on this planet, right now, an animal is eating too. And it is not chewing at all. It is swallowing its meal whole. Skin, bone, fur, all of it, gone in one gulp. Most people assume this is just a lazy shortcut, a crude animal way of eating. But that is not quite right. What's actually happening inside that animal's body is stranger and more brutal than almost anyone realizes. Scientists call it whole prey ingestion. And once you understand why it happens, you will never look at your own dinner plate the same way again. Because the real answer isn't really about predators at all. It's about a trade-off written into your own body too. Stay with me till the end, because the last part of this story is about something you do every single day without ever noticing it. Let's start with the obvious question. Why don't predators just chew? Take a python. It can unhinge its jaw and swallow an animal wider than its own head. A crocodile clamps down, but it can't slice or grind. A pelican tips its head back, and a whole fish just disappears down its throat. On the surface, this looks like nature being messy, inefficient, almost embarrassing. But here's what's fascinating. This isn't a flaw, it's a strategy. And it comes down to one brutal fact of life in the wild. Time is the most dangerous thing an animal can spend. Imagine you are a lioness. You've just taken down a zebra. But you are not alone out there. Hyenas are watching from the tree line. Other lions from a rival pride are close. Vultures are already circling overhead. Every single second you spend chewing is a second someone else could steal your kill, or worse, attack you while your guard is down. So evolution did something ruthless. It optimized many predators, not for the best way to eat, but for the fastest way to get food safely into a body cavity where no one else can take it. Once it's in your stomach, it's yours. Nothing can steal it back. So what killed the need to chew in the first place? The answer lies in the mouth itself. Look at a snake's jaw. It has almost no molars, no flat grinding teeth like yours. Its teeth curve backward, built only to hook and drag prey deeper into the throat. It physically cannot chew, even if it wanted to. Now look at a crocodile. Same story. Its jaw can only open, clamp, and roll. No side-to-side motion, no grinding. Evolution never built these animals a chewing mechanism, because chewing was never the priority. Speed was. But that's only half the story. Here's the part that should genuinely disturb you. Digesting bone, fur, and whole flesh requires something extreme, and predators that swallow prey whole have it. Stomach acid so strong it would dissolve metal over time. A snake's gastric juices sit around a pH of 1, acidic enough to break down entire skeletons, hooves, even porcupine quills, over the course of days. Researchers studying Burmese pythons found that after swallowing prey whole, the snake's internal organs undergo something almost unbelievable. Its heart grows by up to 40% within 48 hours. Its intestines lengthen. Its metabolism spikes over 40-fold, just to power the digestion of that one massive meal. This is not a passive process. This is the body going to war with what it just swallowed. And it might be the strangest part of all. Some of these animals barely need to eat again for weeks. A python that swallows a deer-sized meal can go months without hunting again. Chewing, for us, is about breaking food down before digestion starts. But for these predators, the entire digestive process, from breakdown to nutrient absorption, happens after the swallow, not before it. The mouth's only job is to get it in fast. But here's what almost nobody connects to their own life. Chewing isn't just about breaking food down. For you, it's tangled up with something much deeper. Something social. Look at how humans actually eat. We sit down. We slow down. We talk while we chew. We share a table with people we trust. Anthropologists studying early human sites found something telling. The moment humans started eating in groups around a shared fire, chewing time went up, and so did survival rates. A slow meal, shared with others, meant someone else was watching your back while you were vulnerable. That's the opposite strategy of the lone predator gulping down its kill in the open. Humans didn't out-evolve the need for safety while eating. We just outsourced it to each other. Now here's where it gets personal. Because you actually have your own version of this trade-off, just at a much smaller scale. Think about the last time you were starving and food showed up. Maybe you didn't chew it 30 times like they tell you to in health class. Maybe you barely chewed at all. That's not a coincidence. That's the same ancient survival wiring still alive in you. Underneath the table manners, your body still runs on the same rule every predator runs on. When food is scarce or threatened, speed wins. Chewing is a luxury. It only exists because, for most of human history, you weren't being watched by hyenas while you ate. But here's what's fascinating about your own anatomy. You actually can't safely swallow food whole, and there's a very specific reason why. Your throat was never built for it. You have a tiny flap of cartilage called the epiglottis, and its entire job is to seal off your windpipe every time you swallow. It works, most of the time. But swallow something too big, too fast, and that system fails. This is why choking exists as a leading cause of accidental death in humans, something that almost never happens to a snake or a crocodile, because their throats evolved specifically to handle enormous unchewed mass. Yours didn't. You paid a different evolutionary price for a different advantage. You paid for the ability to speak, to make complex facial expressions, to fine-tune the exact same muscles a python uses only to swallow. Evolution had to choose, and in you, it chose communication over raw swallowing power. But before we get to what predators lost, there's another twist most people never hear about. It isn't just speed and safety driving the whole swallow strategy. It's also about nutrition, in a way that seems backwards at first. Think about a fur seal caught by a killer whale, or a fish caught by a heron. Chewing would actually waste part of the meal. Small bones, cartilage, even fish scales carry calcium and minerals the predator's body needs. Break them into fragments by chewing, and some of that gets lost, dropped, wasted in the water or on the ground. Swallow the whole thing intact, and the stomach acid dissolves it slowly, completely, extracting every last bit of value over hours instead of seconds. In other words, some predators aren't just avoiding a risk, they're running a more efficient extraction process than chewing ever could. The mouth would only get in the way. And once you know this, look at what happens next inside the body, because it's almost engineering. A snake's stomach doesn't just sit there passively digesting. Researchers studying digestion in constrictor snakes found the entire gut essentially rebuilds itself after a big meal. The intestinal lining grows new tissue. Enzyme production ramps up almost instantly. Blood flow to the digestive organs can increase by more than tenfold within a day. Then, once the meal is fully broken down, weeks later, many of those organs actually shrink back down again, conserving energy until the next kill. Your body keeps its digestive organs running at a steady baseline every day of your life. A python's body switches its organs on and off, like a machine powering up only when there's a job to do. So what did predators lose in that trade? Almost total control over their food while eating it. A big cat can't safely chew and watch its surroundings at the same time, so many cats will barely chew large chunks of meat, gulping them down to get their head back up and scanning for threats as fast as possible. Speed of escape from vulnerability, that's the currency. And it explains something you might have noticed if you've ever watched a dog eat. Dogs, descended from wolves, still show this instinct. Watch a dog inhale its food in seconds flat, barely chewing, gulping. That's not bad manners. That's 10,000 generations of ancestors who learned that a slow eater is a dead eater. But then science confirmed what all this points toward, something bigger than any single animal. Across the animal kingdom, chewing time correlates almost perfectly with how safe an animal feels while it eats. Animals at the top of the food chain, or animals that can retreat to a hidden burrow before eating, tend to chew more. Animals exposed in the open, competing over a fresh kill, chew less and swallow more. It's not intelligence. It's not laziness. It's a direct readout of how dangerous that animal's world is. Which raises an uncomfortable question. What does it say about your own life and your own history that you got to evolve into a species that chews slowly, at a table, with your guard fully down? Here's the truth most people never stop to consider. The ability to sit and chew your food slowly is not something every species gets to have. It is a privilege bought by millions of years of your ancestors climbing higher up the food chain, building shelter, forming groups, until eating stopped being the most dangerous 10 minutes of the day. But then here's the twist that connects it all back to right now, tonight, at your own dinner table. Modern life has quietly dragged you halfway back toward the predator strategy without you ever noticing. Eating in your car, eating at your desk, eating in front of a screen, distracted, barely chewing, barely tasting. Researchers who study eating speed found that people distracted while eating chew significantly fewer times per bite than people eating with full attention. You're not being hunted by a hyena, but your brain, in that moment, is still running an ancient shortcut, treating the meal as something to get through quickly, rather than something to savor safely. The threats changed, a notification instead of a predator, a deadline instead of a rival pride. But the wiring underneath reacts almost the same way. Faster bites, less chewing, less presence. And that's why choking, oddly enough, has become more common in exactly the environments designed to feel the safest. Eating while laughing, eating while talking, eating while distracted by a phone. Every single one of those moments recreates, in miniature, the same vulnerability a predator faces out in the open. Except you don't have the biology to survive a mistake the way a python does. Your body was never built for speed swallowing. It was built for something else entirely. Now imagine you are there, 40,000 years ago, crouched at the edge of a fire with a piece of meat in your hand. Somewhere in the dark, something is watching. You don't chew slowly. You tear off a chunk, swallow it half broken, and keep your eyes on the tree line. That instinct never fully left you. It's still folded somewhere inside your nervous system. It's why stress eating so often looks like fast, barely chewed eating. It's why, under pressure, humans revert to gulping food the exact same way a starving predator does. You're not broken when that happens. You're remembering. So the real answer to why predators swallow meat whole isn't really about jaws or acid or metabolism. Those are just the mechanics. The real answer is about what an animal's world demands of it. A python swallows because a slow bite is a death sentence in its world. A crocodile swallows because time in the open water is time exposed. And you, sitting at your table tonight, get to chew slowly. Because somewhere in your evolutionary past, your ancestors fought their way into a world where they finally, briefly, didn't have to eat like they were being hunted.